Kids. Now, Chris Boutte, Rewired Soul, Troll. How many times must we tell you not to attempt diagnosing people, strangers, on the intertubes? Skill testing question for you kids. What do Chris and a televangelist have in common? Well, boys and girls, hints will be dropped in this video, but the answer is toward the end, so stick around. Yes, there will be some weird humor. Jexi F. According wanted to make an appearance. You all remember my beatnik friend, Jexi F. According? Well, we're going to let her read some limericks about Trisha Paytas and Chris Boutte before we talk off, because the middle of this video is going to be pretty serious. Now, should I be adding humor with seriousness? We'll see how well this works out. Be back soon. Okay, Jexi, take it away. And I really wish you would wear proper glasses. She's as blind as I am without prescription glasses, but yay, vanity, right? Because as you know, I'm all about style over substance. Not unlike the YouTubers who inspired this very poetry from the poetry generator. Some limericks coming up. A man called Chris. There once was an old man called Chris. He said, see the lovely kiss. It was rather early, but not very whirly. He just couldn't say no to the fists. Oh, hard to see through these glasses, because everybody has their turn. A lass called Trisha. Again, generated by Jexi F. According. Hey, I did the work. I entered the keywords and I pressed the buttons. I did some work. Here we go. It's called A Lass Called Trisha. There once was a young lass who trolled. She said, see the lovely a-hold? A-hold? Sorry, kids. Can't see through these glasses. Okay. It was rather con, but not very on. She couldn't say no to the consoled. We're going to let CK, aka Straight Talking Fedora Chick, take over now. Take it away, girlfriend. Hey, boys and girls. Straight Talking Fedora Chick coming at you tonight. How are you all doing this fine evening? I hope you at least were able to pretend to like Jexi poetic interlude, whatever you want to call it. Yes. Anyways, on to the video. The Ballad of the Rewired Soul and Trisha Paytas, and how the two of them make a mockery of the recovery mental health community. Yes, we started off the top with the bad limericks, the bad poetry and humor. Now that Jexi has it gotten out of all her system now, or so we hope. It's time to get serious now, because frankly, boys and girls, Chris, aka the Rewired Soul, if he wasn't dangerous before, he is far worse now. And I will get into how he's become more dangerous in just a second. And just a hint right now, it has a lot to do with his comment section after the two videos he uploaded last night. Yeah. So now, yeah. So what is his typical intro again? We're here to focus on the problem. Let's see now. How does that shtick go again? Is it to avoid the solution? Obfuscate? Deflect? To further exacerbate the problem? I am writing this script as I watch the latest from Chris Boutte, aka the Rewired Soul. And yes, kids, as much as he said he was not trying to diagnose Trisha Paytas, yet again, Gee, dude, have you not learned your lesson? But honestly, kids, I think he's gone to the school of trolling. The Trisha Paytas school of trolling. Seriously. The two of them deserve each other. Get a room. Apparently, Trisha recently uploaded a video talking about an addiction to opioids or something along those lines. Kids, before I go on, I confess I don't watch her videos. Frankly, I prefer listening to cats scratching a blackboard over listening to that grating voice of hers. It's like driving nails through my skull, which frankly seems more fun. Also, more often than not, I often feel like my IQ has dropped about 10 points every time I see a clip of her. So much drama. Indeed, it brings me back to those Carol Burnett sketches of As the Stomach Turns, spoofing soap operas. Anyone as old and as uncool as I was, remember As the Stomach Turns? You know, way, way back in the early 1700s? Leave a comment below if you do remember. Now, I am not going to spend too much time talking about Chris's two vids last night, basically slamming Suboxone or any other person in recovery from addiction, from opioids, taking Suboxone or any other drug. Yeah, I know. He claims he wasn't. He claims he's actually pro-Suboxone. He even actually walked it back a little today. But shucks, he turns it around and does just that. Slams it. What were you exactly doing, dude? What exactly was your intent? Are you becoming a shock jock now? Shock jock of the recovery community? According to Jexi of According to Jexi and Nicole over at Real Talk Recovery, both did videos responding to both of Chris's videos, which is why I'm not going to talk too much about the two videos in this video. Both did a great job. Both have great channels talking about recovery from addiction with a lot of their own stories told very candidly, so go check them out. These two women approach their videos and their stories about their recovery with honesty, unlike some Chris Boutte Rewired Soul. They do not pretend to have the answers. They talk about what works for them. When one watches either of their videos, one in recovery can relate. I know I can. The viewers are offered real stories with different solutions to each their own recovery. That is what is great about them. Nicole and Jexi are both examples of how there is no cookie cutter, no one size fits all when it comes to recovering from addiction. I had my own way that was pretty unconventional, which I will not get into really in this video. And it's not something I would necessarily recommend to anyone either. But just to say that I had my own way, Nicole and Jexi have their own ways. And Chris, as crazy as that sounds, has his own way. Stick to your own lane, Chris, when it comes to something serious as recovery. Never say never. As I was preparing my script for this video, I caught Nicole's live stream, and I was reminded along with others in the live chat who are also in recovery, including Jexi, about how, again, no one person has all the answers about addiction and recovery, and how there is no one size fits all. I cannot stress this enough. And anybody who is watching this video who also caught Chris's videos last night who are maybe taking Suboxone or methadone or Vivitrol or are having medically assisted detox right now, considering to break medical advice in favor of listening to him, please don't, kids. He's really a charlatan, okay? No, I'm serious. Don't. Follow the advice of your healthcare practitioner or your doctor, please. I cannot stress this enough. Chris, I have to wonder if he really does believe the crap he spews. Probably not. I mean, by definition, that's what trolling is, right? From everything I have heard in Nicole's videos, Suboxone has helped her a great deal in having a functional life, a normal life for the first time in her life that is sustainable. Who are we to judge her on how she manages to do that? She is able to raise her son and be a good mom and to hold down a job and to run her household. When or if she ever gets off Suboxone is not for us on the intertubes to decide. Not even anyone in whatever 12-step meeting she once attended. It's between her and her doctor or her healthcare practitioner. And the same would go for anyone in recovery from addiction. Yes, unlike Chris and Trisha Paytas. Oops, Pastas. Sorry, automatic spell check. Oh well. This pair I will get to shortly in this video. Nicole and Jexi both hold down day jobs, and they are raising families. They are running households. So they must be doing something right. Right, kids? Nicole doesn't tell everybody that Suboxone is for everybody. She only says that it works for her, and she acknowledges that it may not be for everybody. Myself, as you all know, my poisons of choice were putting coke and speed up my nose on a regular basis about 20 years ago. I did not have withdrawal prescriptions to help. Like I said, not going to go too much into that. I am not going to pretend I have the answers even after 20 years of abstinence. I only have what works for me. This is what concerns me most. It almost made my blood run cold. On the comments section of both of Chris's videos from last night were some what appear to be some vulnerable and impressionable people. Some people who are new into their recovery, new into detox even. It's all fresh, it's all new. They're already anxious and going through all kinds of hell on their own. They hear all kinds of things that might be overwhelming to them. They don't need some frickin' charismatic charlatan on the intertubes telling them what to do. Those who are freshly getting detoxed in some cases, like I said. Anyways, some in the comments section were even entertaining the idea of taking themselves off their meds, their Suboxone or whatever meds they were prescribed. Hell to their doctor or advice from their healthcare practitioner. No, they were only going to listen to Chris Almighty. Chris, now on to the answer from the question earlier. Yes, he comes off as a televangelist. What do Chris and televangelists have in common? Well, they both make money. They make lots of money in some cases. They sell snake oil. And both are charismatic, usually. And it works with many of his fans, aka the Rewired Soldiers. They're both dangerous, Chris and televangelists. I would be remiss not to express concern that some of his soldiers were taking themselves off of whatever anti-withdrawal symptom meds or whatever meds prescribed for their healthcare provider just to listen to him, and how the consequences would no doubt be dire. Next, yes, is a new day. He hasn't learned. He decided to attempt to re-diagnose Trisha Paytas today. Oops, dang, autocorrect. This time, apparently, she put out another dramatic video in an effort to get her fans to feel sorry for her, to once again deflect and obfuscate from the Nicole avocado hootenanny. I swear, kids, the way she chick ties herself in a pretzel, playing the dysfunctional femme fatale, crying on the kitchen floor and bed, whining about her breakup with Jason, and now the latest claiming she's on withdrawing from opioids. Great timing. We all knew they were pretty much over a while ago. Okay, I know myself, I'm getting perilously close to diagnosing Trishy, but she has behaved in as hateful a manner as Chris has. She is difficult to empathize with. As such, I am open to the possibility that she may well be struggling with an opioid addiction or some other addiction. I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, here I was going into a diatribe how we shouldn't be judging anybody who is using medication, how we should not be pill shaming anyone. So I'll tone down the rhetoric a bit. And if it really is the case that Trisha is attempting to get off opioids and she is suffering the terrible withdrawal symptoms attached, Chris is the last person who should be providing advice to her. It is up to her to seek help, should she see fit. Chris decided to put in his 2 cents to lecture about her addiction. Oh yeah, he was quick to say he wasn't diagnosing her. Yeah, I'll admit that, but come on. My father always had a saying, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck. Let's call him Preacher Chris because this is exactly how he comes off. Honestly, boys and girls, both Chris and Trisha have similar modus operandi. Deflect and obfuscate when they get themselves in trouble instead of owning up. And I mean owning it with conviction. No fake apologies. Now, as pointed out, Chris is walking back ever so slightly on his anti-Suboxone stance. However, he is still doubling down that it should only be a very short taper. I think he's implying it should only be no more than a few weeks. Again, not for him to say for anyone. Again, anybody who's watching this video, who watched Chris' last few videos, please seek help. Listen to your healthcare practitioner or your therapist or your healthcare practitioner. Please do not listen to a charlatan on the intertubes once again. Yes, I know he's charismatic. I know he sounds knowledgeable, but really it's all a facade. Also, toward the end of his video, is he seriously counseling Trisha to go to 12-step meetings instead of going to a therapist? Oh dear, once again, he fails to learn, and this makes Chris, aka the Rewired Soul, not only problematic at best, it also makes him dangerous. Chris, aka the Rewired Soul, has irked me for some time now. And yes, like many, including Nicole of Real Talk Recovery and Jexi of According to Jexi, and another recovery channel I follow, Jason, over at These Four Walls, and yours truly, we were all fans of Chris's, and long before he decided to become a drama channel. We actually thought he did great work. But that's the thing with charismatic people. It's how politicians get us to vote for them. It is how salespeople get us to buy stuff we don't need. It is how televangelists get lonely senior citizens to blow their pension checks on them. Examples of how charisma is used for evil instead of good. Chris once upon a time had a potential to do a lot of good things. But once he became a drama channel and started diagnosing people, anybody remember the Bobby Burns car accident where Chris was all in a huff convinced that that Bobby Burns was on the influence without any evidence? Yeah, me too. All bets were off, especially when he started diagnosing strangers on the intertubes. Oh, he denies up and down that he never does that. Sure looks like it from where we sit. Again, it bears mentioning because it made me really nervous about his comment section of some of his fans musing about taking themselves off their Suboxone or other symptom meds just because they either look up to Chris or felt they were being pill shamed by Chris and his fan club. Hard to believe that YouTube still monetizes him for this crap. Chris, dude, you could have used your gift for good, but you chose the almighty buck instead. Anybody suffering from mental health issues and or an addiction of any kind, and please remember, addiction and mental health issues, they do go hand in hand. Please stop watching him. Especially if you are new to recovery, especially if you are in a vulnerable position. He does not have your best interests at heart. Some of us learned that the hard way. Don't let it be you. Chris, basically, once again, along with Trisha Paytas, especially if she is faking this round of recovery / depression to deflect from the Nicocado avocado brouhaha. Well, you are making a mockery of mental health awareness and a mockery of addiction. So much for focus on the problem and talk about the solution, eh? Dr. Feelgood. As for Jexi and Nicole of According to Jexi and Real Talk Recovery, respectfully, along with Jason of These Four Walls, go check out their channels. Jexi does a live stream every Wednesday evening on her channel about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's perfect for trivia buffs who cannot or simply do not want to go to a bar or a pub to play trivia, which is pretty much exclusively where that sort of activity happens these days. You can play in the comfort in your own home in your ratty old sweats. I know that's what I do. Of course, it goes without saying that we wish Nicole and Jexi and everybody else in the recovery and mental health community with continued sobriety and recovery, as with anyone else, whatever that may be for them, it's up to them. Not chastised, not judged, and certainly not pill shamed. That's just about going to do it for now. Straight talking. What is it now, Shiza? What? Okay, boys and girls, can you all stand just one more poem from Shiza? Apparently it's not a limerick this time. Please. She's now perfecting her poetry slamming technique. She wants to demonstrate it for you all. Okay, Shiza, but once again, you've got to wear proper glasses, okay? Here. Wear them. Hey, CK, I will wear your glasses, even though I don't look as cool in them as I do with the retro glasses. Dang. But this is a longer poem, and I guess I have to be able to read it. Yes. It's called The Egotistical Stranger at YouTube, a narrative by Trisha F. According. One day at the BetterHelp shop, I met a man selling cats. For money he wanted to swap, but I really wanted some bats. Got any bats, asked I, for that's how I'll spend my money. No bats here, said the guy. He seemed to find it quite funny. We've got some lovely cakes. I'll give you some very fine price. I'd rather have some snakes, the man blinked rapidly thrice. The man seems exceptionally whiny. His manner was strangely amused. He wasn't what I would call zany. Great disdain he noticeably oozed. Like others, he thought I was odd. Some say he's a bit egotistical. Still, he gave me a courteous nod, as if he thought I was plenty mystical. So in search of my goal, I departed. But before the BetterHelp shop could I leave, the man came running full-hearted. I can help you, I believe. Cats, bats you shall find. Cakes and snakes you can get. You must open your mind and get down to YouTube Market. So to YouTube Market I decided to go in search of the bats I craved. The winds it did eerily blow, but I felt that the day could be saved. There were stalls selling entertainment, fiction in many shades. There were even stalls selling attainment. People were scattered from many trades. I was greeted by a peculiar lady. She seemed to be rather egotistical. I couldn't help thinking she might be quite shady. I wondered if she was at all mystical. Before I could open my mouth, she shouted, "For you I have some bats." I headed to her to the south, past some cakes and bats. Sorry, that was cats. Dyslexic mind at work, kids. All right, now my rhythm is broken down. But how did you know? I asked. Do you want them or not? She did say. Silently the bats she passed, then vanished before I could pay. As I walked away, I heard a crackle, or perhaps a hushed cackle. Thank you, CK, for giving me the opportunity to be in this video. But I don't get why we're reading funny stories now, because whatever Chris Boutte, the Rewired Soul, does, or Trisha Paytas does, are not funny. We could come across satire and call it as the tummy turns. But it ain't funny. Okay, thank you, Shiza. Say goodnight, Shiza. Good night, Shiza. Okay, yes, I made a mockery of Chris and Trisha, and probably some of the drama that happens online in general. But, if Trisha really is lying, and unfortunately that is what I believe, and Chris, they make a mockery of the mental health community, and they make a mockery of the addiction community. Seriously, folks, take care of yourselves and each other. If you know someone who is vulnerable for whatever reason, be sure to take the time to check in on them. Spend time with them. Listen to what they have to say. Get to know them. People cannot be defined by their previous actions, addictions, or afflictions. Get to know us. Get to know them. Empathize. Have a coffee or a meal with them. It might make all the difference in the world to that person. Straight talking floor chick over and out.